Hello, and welcome to episode 16 of the BABYMETAL podcast. It's August 19th, 2019, here as we record. The podcast is a place where we gather on something like alternate weeks. Actually, we were just here, I think, last week. But anyway, to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of BABYMETAL. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Welcome back, everyone.
And Garrett.
Hello.
So, we just recorded an episode last week, right? I think we did.
Yeah.
But the news keeps coming.
Or released one?
I don't remember, but it just seems very recent.
Yes.
We weren't planning on recording quite this soon, but things were just accumulating too quickly not to. So there's an interesting property about this episode in that we are going to split it into two different parts. So I will reveal here at the beginning that the thing that we're going to talk about in the second half basically has to do with some of the audio that got released to the world from the upcoming Metal Galaxy album. Probably unintentionally, in fact, almost certainly unintentionally. So, but it was out there in the world. It wasn't stolen from anywhere. So we're going to talk about it. And if you don't want to hear about it before the album is actually released, then we will tell you when to stop listening and leave the chat room and, turn off your computer and go sit in the dark. So anyway, that's the warning. But there's many things to talk about even before that. So I think the first thing we can just talk about, and this will probably take quite a while, is that Summer Sonic 2019 just happened. So I don't know if anyone, maybe I'll pass this off. Anyone want to start describing what happened?
This was kind of a big one, right? As far as Summer Sonics go that they've done in the past, they surprised us a little bit and surprised us in comparison, especially to last year. We had some interviews come out around that time. We had an interesting set list that included songs from the first album, several pictures and several videos from backstage and side stage during the show from other artists. And they finally got to hang out and be with Bring Me the Horizon, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really was not expecting, I said this about Super Slippa too, what new could happen? But, so I was really not expecting very much, but it really seemed like there was quite a lot, there's quite a lot to talk about. It was 2 days.
Yeah, so I was going to say, just for those of you keeping score, our Avenger was Riho this time.
Mm-hmm.
They played Megitsune, Papaya, Gimme Chocolate, what we assume and have now actually confirmed is Future Metal, which they also played in Yokohama and Nagoya, Elevator Girl, Shanti, Yava, which is really interesting,
exciting.
Distortion, Karate, Headbanger, and Road to Resistance.
Quite the set list for such an amazing show.
Yeah, seriously. And they even had the CO2 smoke launchers.
Yes.
Those are always
for
cool.
Headbanger, which was really awesome.
And they had Headbanger. I mean, I really assumed that was going to be just, a special occasion song that they pulled out, once every very rare occasion. But this was just a festival show and it came back. So I guess that
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I think maybe that means that we might have some hope of seeing it in the future as well.
Yeah. I think it's also too important to note, too, that it's the original lyrics. They didn't change it to Hatachi. They're back to Ichigo 15.
Yeah, which is interesting. That so at the birthday shows, they switched it to 20. Well,
correct.
Yes, right. I guess they only did it at Legend Dam. They didn't do it at Yokohama. So
right.
So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so this was 2 days. So Summer Sonic was taking place in two different locations, in Osaka and in Tokyo, and and BABYMETAL played the first day. They played in Osaka, and the second day they played in Tokyo. And actually, Osaka was hit super hard by I think it was a typhoon, which really knocked out a lot of the first half of the day on two of the stages, which is pretty awful for the people who were playing. Fortunately, our people were late in the day, and so they managed to reassemble the stage in time. But yeah, that's pretty awful anyway.
Yeah, we got a little lucky, I think, that they got that all sorted out in time.
Only got pushed back 30 minutes. That's not bad at all.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd even forgotten that they got pushed back, but yeah, you're right. And so a lot of what we were kind of excited about was that there was going to be a stream of the second day. Well, for us, it was the second day. They were basically, Summer Sonic was streaming what was going on in Tokyo. They had just one stream, and I think 4 stages. So the stream basically kind of bounced around, and it was sort of intermixed between live things and pre-recorded stuff. So it's rather than what we would have preferred, I'm sure, to have just 4 different streams. They had one stream that they kind of put everything together on.
Right.
So all we knew, like going into it was essentially, I mean, we could sort of see what was happening on the stream, but all we really knew going into it was like when the earliest was that they could be, because they couldn't stream it before they actually played.
You got up for that, right?
So they played in my time zone. They would have played, I think it was at 6 a.m. And I didn't get up for it. I stayed up for it.
Oh, wow.
Nice. I respect that.
So it was quite a long night. But it was actually, I enjoyed it though. I mean, I was sort of doing other stuff or whatever, but I was kind of paying attention, and it was a pretty nice festival overall. I mean, like it was kind of fun to watch the other bands I wasn't planning on watching.
Sure.
Bandmade played, so that was also
yes,
cool.
they did.
Nice.
I did catch up on that. Great set. If you're also a Bandmade fan, check it out.
But yeah, so anyway, we all eventually. Oh, I guess in the YouTube description they had a list of like who was playing, and the order was accurate, so you could sort of at least tell, when you were close, because the band before them was playing, right? Who was the band before them? It was Circa Wave or Circa Waves, something like that. And those poor people, because of course the YouTube stream chat. I mean, so first of all, there was an overall kind of like background noise of Blackpink fans just typing Blackpink for no good reason all the time. The day before they were playing, asking when they played and that sort of thing. But and then overlaid on top of that during Circle Wave was all the BABYMETAL fans going like, "When's BABYMETAL? When's BABYMETAL? Hurry up, get off!" It's really sad. But
did Bring Me the Horizon play before or after BABYMETAL? Because I remember there was something about Ollie Sykes shouting out BABYMETAL on stage.
Yeah, they played on the same stage before BABYMETAL. So it was Bring Me the Horizon,
okay,
and then there was a gap while they did setup, and then BABYMETAL. So in the stream, other stuff happened in between them, but they were, Bring Me the Horizon was first, and they did. That was pretty cool, actually. Quite early on, they said like, they basically just said they acknowledged that everybody was waiting for BABYMETAL.
Did one of them, I saw a picture, one of them was wearing a kitsune mask during their performance, for at least part of it?
I think what happened, yeah, so the person, I don't know Bring Me the Horizon very much, but the person who everybody seems to focus on is this Ollie person.
That's the singer,
yeah.
The vocalist.
Covered in tattoos, although it looks like many of them are, but at any rate.
Yeah.
I think in the Osaka, my understanding was that he was wandering around in the audience in the Osaka show, and had a real kitsune mask. Like it's this mask is something that kind of exists out in the world. You can get them, but this one actually had the BABYMETAL logo on it, so it's a real one.
That's a $high item right there.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure he probably spent $0 on it, but
yeah. I wonder if it was one of the prop ones they use.
Yeah, I wonder. Could be. I mean, I'm sure they've probably got about 500 of them.
I'm sure.
But yeah, so there's these people are very deeply connected throughout this entire event.
Could one of you fill me in? I understand that they like each other, and Mo and Sue keep wanting to collaborate or do something with them. How did that all start?
I don't know.
I want to say it was during an interview. I could be wrong. They asked one of the other favorite bands that they really liked were, and I think Moa said Bring Me the Horizon, and then Sue agreed.
Yeah, I remember the interview, and that's kind of where it came up. But do we have anything before that as to why they might have picked them? Because usually when they're asked stuff like that, it's Metallica or somebody who happens to be performing at the same show with them.
Yeah. So I believe it actually does go back further. Metal Incarnate in the chat posted a photo, which I think my understanding of that photo is that so it's somebody who's wearing a Baby Metal shirt who has startled them by wearing it, right? And I'm pretty sure that that's going to be one of the Bring Me the Horizon guys.
I think that's Ollie.
Okay. It's a great photo, actually. I mean, if you haven't seen that, it's they're acting like very surprised, and they love it. So based on that, I think Bring Me the Horizon in the past has been supportive of them. Likes them and sort of,
Okay.
I still think that we are being just deluged with references to them. It seems like they've been planting references to them quite a lot, to the point where they must be planning to do something together. Just because I can't imagine any other reason why we just can't stop hearing about them.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask. That seems plausible to me.
So we'll see. And actually, I mean, I guess I had typed this a little bit further down in my own notes, but there is some. Well, okay, maybe I'll lead into this and then say the thing I was going to say, which is that in their own set, I think it was in the Tokyo set that I saw on the stream, that they basically said, Bring Me the Horizon said, we'll be back in November. And
interesting.
So that's that happens to be also when Baby Metal's playing their shows in Japan. So it seems actually like a pretty likely possibility that in the Baby Metal shows, Bring Me the Horizon might open for them.
What a tangled web they weave.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. I mean, Bring Me the Horizon, I believe, is a pretty big group, but in the context of Japan, it might make sense that they could open for Baby Metal, even if outside Japan it might go the other way.
Okay, makes sense.
But so that's interesting. I'm not sure that I like Bring Me the Horizon that much, but whatever, it's interesting.
I like some of their older stuff. If you know anything about them, they used to be a lot heavier than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Like more screams. They do a lot more singing nowadays. So I like some of their songs. Not one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is sort of tempting to give them more of a chance because we have Baby Metal vouching for them, Yeah.
Sure.
But let's see. So there's maybe some other stuff. Is there anything else to talk about this? Well, I mean, we didn't really finish the story about the stream. So the thing about the stream is that they came on. Everybody's very excited. They played "Gimme Chocolate." It was good. It was possibly the crowd was into it more or less. And then they played Papaya, and the crowd was amazing for Papaya. Everybody had their little swinging towels. It really just it was phenomenal. I think this was actually the Makuhari Messi venue. Is that right?
That sounds right.
Because it looked familiar from that show, I think.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big flat place. I mean, I remember thinking that that's maybe not the best place to see somebody, just because once you get pretty far out, then you just can't see anything but heads in front of you. But it was impressive, really impressive looking. And then the stream stopped, and it went to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like sound checking.
Yeah.
And that was pretty disappointing. So I think a lot of people were not happy about that. But I might. Yeah, I don't know what the actual reality is, and I don't know what I actually think. But it could well be that we got 2 songs instead of 0 songs, rather than 2 songs instead of a half hour, because Baby Metal wasn't even in the schedule initially, the stream schedule. They were sort of added late, and so it could be that somebody did Koba a favor, basically said, yeah, we can wedge them in here somewhere. Or it could be that Koba said, no, sorry, you only get 2 songs. It could be either way.
Yeah, that's what I remember, that they weren't originally planned to have been streamed at all. And then suddenly, it was like 2 weeks before Summer Sonic started, they announced them as part of the streaming schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter asking BABYMETAL to stream the performance at the festival.
Yeah, there was definitely a Twitter campaign to try and get their performance streamed. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of agree with you, Paul. I think we should be happy that we got 2. I'm always going to be disappointed that we don't get a whole set when it's streamed, but I will always take something over nothing.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I think for people who are watching, who are kind of like watching the stream throughout, and that was actually kind of fun too. Just having this event, so kind of a lot of people idly hanging out in the various Discord servers, just chatting about what's going on the stream at the time. But we definitely had there were certain judgments made about some of the people that did get time. As opposed to BABYMETAL. There was one act in particular that got canceled in Osaka due to the typhoon and was played in Tokyo, and it felt interminable. I don't even know if I want to say what it was, but one definitely does look at that and think, it would have been better just to have like that time devoted to BABYMETAL instead.
Yeah, I don't know, just light soapbox. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to kind of remember that all of these decisions are business driven, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm running a festival like this and I have a bunch of international acts, I'm going to be tempted and probably get some pressure from the international acts to be streamed for more exposure in Japan. And I think it's important to remember too, when we get a stream from Japan, it's for the Japanese and that time zone audience. So, I read a lot of people getting upset that, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning or whenever it was in their time zone and we only got this. Mm-hmm. Just remember that you're not the target audience.
Yeah.
The people that are in that local time zone are. So to have anything at all, I think is always better than to have nothing.
And I think it's possible too that they really did sort of tip it a little bit toward the non-Japanese acts, so the international acts had a little bit better chance of having longer on the stream. But that also makes sense for that same reason. So like, I think Bandmade was like 12 minutes or something, it's really, quite short.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was a big deal for Bandmade. They're tiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 12 minutes isn't terribly surprising because they're one of the smaller acts there, just by virtue of who they're surrounded by.
Yeah. Though, BABYMETAL headlined their stage, and they got 8 minutes. But
yeah.
But
who knows?
The video's good though. Actually, I mean, like for those 2 songs, the video is quite nice. So
yeah, the stream was great. Certainly an improvement over Super Slippa's stream.
Yeah. Well, and they were also there were no errors.
Yeah, that too.
Sue remembered where she was at all times. So let's see. You want to talk about the photo we got? We got this fantastic photo.
The photo's pretty incredible. So I'm a pretty enormous Star Wars fan. I'm involved in several Star Wars things in my life and have been for most of my life. And the photo we got is Sue sitting in a Star Wars Battle Pod arcade game, Moa standing next to her, and Bring Me the Horizon surrounding them, also playing in the Star Wars Battle Pod. And it is probably one of the very few truly candid photos I have ever seen of this group. And it combines BABYMETAL and Star Wars, so I'm naturally very, very happy. So it's a really cool photo.
And I think if you were also a Bring Me the Horizon fan, this would be like total, nirvana of a photo. But
yeah, I mean, I can only describe it as truly candid. Moa didn't find the camera, which he always does. Sue's just looking over her shoulder, playing in the Star Wars Battle Pod, and I believe the photo was taken by the official band photographer. So it's not sniped or anything by somebody random backstage. It was intended to be taken by somebody who was authorized to take the photo. But it actually looks like a real candid moment, which is really special. because we don't get a whole lot of that. And we haven't gotten a whole lot of that since maybe early 2016, 2015, somewhere around there.
Right.
Very nice to see.
So there's so much about this photo that I just love, but I mean, like having Sue sort of like, so what we're doing is, I assume actually everybody who's listening to this has seen this photo, but if you haven't, go seek it out. But so, Sue's basically sitting with her back to us, and her head sort of turned around the sort of the back of the seat. So all you really see is just her head turned, but it's just perfect. And Mo is kind of like standing there, holding, next to the seat, holding it and looking back. But the one thing that really struck me about this is that this is also one of the only photos I've seen, certainly anytime recently, where you have any idea how big these people are.
Yeah.
Because there's actually sort of like points of reference around them. And Mo is really kind of short.
She's so small.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that she wasn't quite that small, but I mean, because you always see them just sort of like next to each other, but sort of like with no, either the perspective is messing it up or there's just no other context. But there's something just surprising about this.
If you're familiar with the Star Wars Battle Pod or seated arcades in general, the top of the headrest for where you sit to play the game comes up to just below her shoulders, to give you an idea where that is. So it's amazing. I love everything about this photo. It's hard not to fangirl over it a little bit.
Yeah. So that's that was just a joy. And actually, the photo itself is in black and white. The official photo was black and white, and I think it was posted. The tweet came from I don't know whose game is this. It was the game company though, Sony, Sega. I don't know. So it wasn't actually posted by either of the bands. But someone took the trouble to colorize it. So there is a version of this photo out there that is in color, although it is not. It is color applied after the fact.
Yes, and the colorist forgot one part of the photo, and it bugs me every time I look at it.
Yeah,
I'll let everybody Where's Waldo that if you come across the color version, see if you can find the part that they forgot.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty funny doctorings of this photo that made Ma even smaller.
Yeah, I've also seen some that have made her bigger.
Yeah, but
we'll put it in the links below the show, so definitely take a look at it. It's great.
But yeah, so another sort of thing that we got. Bring Me the Horizon seems to have provided a lot of this content, but they posted a video summary of their experience at Summer Sonic. The trip to Japan, and it was sort of like a video collage of just various bands that they saw and so forth. And but at the end of it, they part of what's in the video is them actually doing like a sort of a standard photo shoot kind of thing with BABYMETAL. So hopefully this means that we will get those photos. So far we haven't. We've only gotten sort of evidence that they were taken in this video.
Yeah.
But and much has been made about the fact that Ollie was like leaning on Sue's shoulder at one point. I don't know what to make of that. I don't think it's whatever. Actually, what's kind of funny, I was watching some of the discussion in the Discord about this, and of course, the Discord's related to the subreddit that people discuss this stuff on, and it did actually sort of seem like everybody was all ready for people to be to find this terrible and annoying, and was sort of defending people, like sort of saying everybody should calm down about it, but actually nobody was really that heated up about it. So
thankfully,
it's kind of a funny photo. I mean, like I find it a little bit presumptuous on this guy's part, but at the same time, I sort of feel like that is completely in character with what he is like. At least given what I saw about his in the show, in the Summer Sonic set they did, it sort of seems like this is just like the way he is.
So, yeah, I read some stuff in that same thread on Reddit that lead me to believe that this is kind of who he is, but not in a good way. If you kind of catch my drift.
Yeah, no, I think that it's been kind of interesting, kind of looking into. I mean, Bring Me the Horizon, I guess I was looking into for this sort of separate reason, but also looking into some of the people that they're collaborating with. I'm not sure that I like, I'm not sure that I want to necessarily follow the people.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Honestly, I didn't follow them on Twitter up until recently. Like, I knew who they were, but I didn't follow them on social media. Now that I followed him, I'm like, oh, that's how he acts.
Yeah. But whatever. I mean, it's that's what the world is like. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, and it's only a small sample, so who the heck knows? We can't judge a person by A, what somebody else says, and B, maybe their social media presence.
Yeah, right. A lot of times people are actually trying to project an image that whatever. It's up to them how they want to project themselves, but it might not be accurate.
Exactly.
One other note, too, I think this was only in Osaka and not in Tokyo, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist was wearing a Baby Metal shirt. So that's cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and I don't know how long we've been recording, but we're still just talking about, Summer Sonic. So lots of stuff happened.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anything else? I was thinking of skipping on to the next couple things. Any other Summer Sonic thoughts?
Go check it out. There's a lot of stuff.
But it won't take you very long to watch the Baby Metal part.
True.
8 minutes and you're done. You could watch it twice.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention that I forget who it was. There were some videos on Twitter that came around from other performers that were side stage during Baby Metal's act. Was that?
Oh, yeah. Those people? Were cool. No, who is... I know whoever it is, somebody will know this, I think. But maybe it is.
Shoot.
I don't know who it is. There's a guy with a sort of like dramatic handlebar mustache.
Yeah, spectacular mustache. I don't think it's Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah. As soon as I see the name, I will remember it. But yeah, there were a couple of these, and they were basically just like little Instagram stories or whatever. Zebrahead, yes, Dan Palmer of Zebrahead. Okay. It was basically, they were watching from the side and they were taking shots of the audience, and the whole point of this was just the amazing control they had over the audience. I mean, like the entire audience was jumping to Megitsune, and that's actually the only bit we saw of Megitsune. But
yeah, that's what was really cool to me. It was a great view of kind of what they see on stage from somebody else's point of view. What blew me away is how clear you can hear the crowd from the side stage on this dude's cell phone recording of what was going on. You can tell the music is there. You can hear what part of the song it is, but it's very subdued. But you can hear the crap out of the crowd during the call and response for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that did surprise me too. Like I didn't quite understand. Like in almost none of the things that we've seen, certainly not on the stream videos, do you get that sense that how loud they are.
Yeah, that's the first time I think we've ever heard what they would hear on the stage. And let me tell you, they can hear us. So when you go to a show this year on their tour, scream, participate, because they will hear it.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll put links to those in the description as well.
Yeah. Definitely very good. Okay, so there's a couple of... Boy, this is going slowly. It's fun though, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of little things that we can mention here. So there were a couple of interviews. Well, a couple of interviews that came out. I think both of them from basically Super Slippa time. And so one was in a something called KK Box. Let's see if I can find that. So it was a pretty short interview, and it featured some pretty weird photos, I have to say. I don't know if you have seen these, but they're Sue and Moa against a kind of a gray backdrop, and for some reason they have the harshest light I've ever seen on them. They're really not very good looking photos ultimately.
Yeah, they're not great.
So that's interesting. I guess, like an occasional photo that doesn't look good of them.
Well, I mean, all photos of them I think look good, but from a technical perspective, they're not great made photographs.
Yeah. And I don't think, there actually wasn't too much of content in here. One thing that they did ask and got an answer for was they were asked if they adjust their performance to different audiences depending on like whether they'd be familiar with them or not. And Moa said, "Our performance style does not change. We hope to present our authentic style at every performance." So I thought that was kind of cool.
I love that she's taken a kind of a bigger role this year. You know, maybe that's she's partly out of necessity. Maybe that's part of growing up. Maybe that's maybe the, you know, Kobo letting the reins loose a little bit on what's going on. But it's cool that we get almost as much content from her as we do Sue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very nice change.
I noticed also at the end of this that when asked for more info on Metal Galaxy, Moa answered, "Only the Fox God knows," in Mandarin.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty cool.
She learned how to say it in Mandarin for this purpose. Fantastic. There was another interview that's more involved by a magazine called Keeden, I guess. It's definitely, you know, there's actually quite a bit more there. I don't know that I want to say much about it, but it's, you know, it's worth reading these if you haven't. Was there anything in there that anyone wanted to mention?
I think the pull-out quote, "Metal Galaxy represents the further evolution of kawaii metal," is interesting. If only that, you know, they're really taking kind of an industry standard approach to starting to promote the album when they're interviewed.
Yeah. By the way, buy our album. By the way, come back for their show.
Yep.
I'd like to mention that when asked about Baby Metal Records, that was formed in 2018, Moa Metal also responded, only the Fox God knows," in Mandarin as well.
Good, she got to use it twice. Yeah, that's true. I remember thinking that was an interesting question. Like, what? It wouldn't have occurred to me to ask about the formation of the record label, and we haven't thought about that for a long time. I mean, that was even before I think we were doing this, like, you know, generation 2 of the podcast, and so, you know, not much seemed to have come of that. Maybe it's serving some purpose, but
I hadn't thought about that, and I'm going to have to.
Sorry.
I would also like to add that at the end of this interview, they did define cult for everybody that was reading the interview.
Yeah, they I guess when you read this in its original, they use words that mean cult and, you know, like joining the religion and stuff, and and it is sort of interesting. I mean, the description, this is the translator's description of like why they used cult, and it's
right.
kind of interesting. So
we're not a cult.
Yeah.
We only wear bracers and masks and things.
Yeah.
we jump when we're told jump.
Okay, so one other sort of little thing. I have heard actually nothing about this really beyond its original announcement, but the publishers of Metal Hammer magazine, I think that's in the UK, isn't it? I'm not. Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
They have published volume 2 of the Story of Metal, and all I know is that Baby Metal is mentioned. I don't know if it's just, I don't know to what extent it's mentioned, but I think that, you know, they're listed among the bands, so maybe at some point we'll know more about what's in there. But all I know now is that you can buy it.
I suppose to no surprise, they've always been really supportive of the group.
Yeah. And it's funny, is another thing that's in my list of news here. It just seems like such non-news now. But anyway, the Dark Knight Carnival Download 2018 Blu-ray set, the Chosen 7 Blu-ray set, was made available for sale again. So A-Smart is now selling the Chosen 7 Blu-ray set, except not with the Papaya Golden Disc. And I think it still costs the same as it did before. So
Of course it does.
yeah. Anyway, whatever. Okay. Is that it? Are we ready to move on to the next big thing of news before we get to the biggest news?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
We got sort of a surprise release of the English version of Elevator Girl that was released as a music video taken from basically like it's a lot like the Papaya video in that it was just taken from one of the Japan shows. This was Nagoya Night 2, so Legend M Night 2. And basically they just took that live video and then put the English version audio over it. So I don't think and the English version audio actually hadn't come out. Oh yes, I remember. Kevin, you made a very wrong prediction.
I did.
I do remember that now.
Yes, I did. I incorrectly predicted that they would take the English from the Japanese version and make it Japanese.
Yeah. Well,
and leave the one we had, the English version.
It was a nice idea. It might have been a better thing if you were right. But yeah. So we have an English version of Elevator Girl. It is released with a video of them singing the Japanese version of Elevator Girl. But okay, so who wants to talk about this? I keep talking. Somebody else talk.
They're pushing this new Elevator Girl, English version of Elevator Girl, really hard. Like I've heard it on the radio twice now, and I live in the middle of the United States.
Oh wow!
Like,
really?
Oh,
like
really?
In actual over the air radio.
My local radio station played it, and I heard it on satellite radio.
FM radio.
Yep, FM radio.
No kidding.
Once on FM radio. Yep. They didn't say it was like requested or anything. It just said new. They said like new rock now or whatever, and then played Papaya. No, they played Elevator Girl.
That
Sirius
is
XM
wild.
played the English version, no less.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I have never heard Baby Metal on FM radio.
Really?
Really?
They played Starlight not too long ago too.
No kidding.
Like soon after it came out.
Well, okay, so maybe there's a secret little bit of promotion going on we didn't know about.
or maybe my local radio station is aware of Baby Metal's existence.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Baby Metal Records, the label,
That
is
would
doing.
be nice. Get more of that. Would be greatly appreciated.
That's cool. Yeah, so they did announce that it was going to be on, I think, Sirius XM radio at some point, and so
Yeah, I heard
everybody tuned in and stuff. But
We got a little video saying, tune in here for Elevator Girl, right?
I might have heard that one by accident.
Wasn't there a social media video of Sue telling us to tune in to Octane or something?
Yeah, that's right.
I heard that. That's the one I heard.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, but it was an interesting video because they really it's like designed specifically to be difficult for a Japanese speaker to say. Elevator Girl on Sirius. It's like, come on. But so it was very cute as a result.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. That's so we have so what they did in the end was they of course we had all the English that we had before, and then the parts that were Japanese have now got English words in them, but they're not translations. They've basically just come up with some different English words.
That's really bizarre. I don't understand this. They basically changed the whole song. Well, at least the meaning of the song.
Verses are entirely different. It sounds off after hearing exclusively the Japanese version up until now.
So I did make one prediction in the last episode that's correct. That if they did it this way, the song is going to sound strange because the Japanese lyrics don't rhythmically translate very well into the song. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that that is accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. They probably would have they might have had an even harder time trying to actually translate.
Yeah.
At least at this, given that they freed themselves from any restrictions of getting the meaning the same, they could just do what English provided. But yeah, I mean, even so. So, okay. The original lyrics, the Japanese lyrics, are, they're essentially, the story is essentially that we have this elevator. It says, please stay clear of the doors. Our next stop is hell.
Right.
It's like whatever, pins all over the floor or whatever. And, it's really actually, it's kind of cute and dark, and, it's interesting. And what they did with the English version, I mean, so first of all, point one about the English version, they are doing the English version because I guess they assume that people in the English-speaking world don't want to listen to something that's in Japanese. So you'd think maybe this is so that they could understand the words. But nobody has any idea what they're saying.
Yeah, half of them aren't even can't understand them anyway. Like I looked up,
that's kind of rough.
I looked up the English lyrics and there was question marks on lines.
I mean, there's lots of stuff that you can't understand the words in when you know that they are intending to sing in English, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not. But I mean, it just does seem like if we're already not going to understand it, I'd rather not understand it in Japanese.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so
weird decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't get behind it. I just don't like it outright. I don't like it in English. I don't think the song works as well. It wasn't my favorite of what we had so far. Before the album comes out, but I dug it. I got into it, and yeah, I can't get behind the English version. And the video for me is weird. I've made this comparison online. When you watch it, it reminds me of watching an old Godzilla movie that's dubbed in English. Mm-hmm. I think most of us can probably picture what that looks like, because it just doesn't line up at all with, what they're actually singing for a fair amount of the song.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked the song before, but so it seems like what they've done, I mean, they basically just made it fluffy. It seems like maybe what they've tried to do is take the elevator concept and turn it into some kind of like mood swings, so the words that we can make out, it's something like, we're going up, we're going down, see the whole world spin around. It's nowhere near like an elevator to hell.
Yeah. Right? It's weird.
Maybe she's saying one day I'm happy, one day I'm a mess, and so it kind of feels like it really does feel like what they've done is like taken the elevator concept and moved it to like the way you feel or something.
Yeah.
Which is, really seems quite shallow.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, so and of course they've never performed it this way, so they didn't have any video they could use. What they did with the video was in the parts that were English already, you could see Sue singing them. And then in the parts that were Japanese, it's just frenzied cuts. So, like you see Sue for like a couple of frames, and then they cut to like, other stuff.
Yeah. They speed cut to try and hide it.
Yeah. The visuals, though, in the video are pretty interesting. So, I mean, I guess, Kevin, you saw it actually in real life, but I hadn't seen the sort of visual effects that they'd done. So they actually had some of the screen stuff, showing the very sort of like red elevator-looking things, the sort of like wireframe outline elevators going up and down.
It's a really neat effect, and I'm glad you guys finally got to see it. I tried to describe it, and you can see maybe why I failed miserably trying to describe what was going on.
Yeah, it was really nice. But and so there have been a couple of remixes of the video. If you take the, I'm not going to tell you where to find it, but I mean, like if you take the video and just put the Japanese audio on, that looks quite nice.
It's great. That's my go-to now.
Yeah. So,
and if you are wondering, they did replace, at least in the English-speaking world, all of the copies of Elevator Girl on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you consume your music, has been replaced now by the English version.
Yeah, that's kind of mysterious.
Spotify ripped it right out of my playlist.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, I don't use Spotify, but okay. So I generally I've been using iTunes, and if you go to iTunes for Metal Galaxy, it tells you like, okay, you've already bought Popeye, you've already bought Starlight. It allowed me to buy the English version of Elevator Girl, so I was not registered as having bought that. I had bought the Japanese one, and so I was allowed to buy the English one. Distortion, though I bought it before, was not listed as bought and was not available to buy. So that's also telling us that it's different on Metal Galaxy. But I do wonder. I mean, like I assume that I will forever have. Obviously, I've made a zillion backups, but I mean, like even through iTunes, I'm assuming that I will forever have the Elevator Girl that I bought, back when it was released. But
I sure hope so.
But it's quite possible that you can't buy it new anymore.
At least not from an international vendor.
Yeah. So, don't know. It's weird. It's one thing to release the English version. It's another thing entirely to make the other one so hard to get. But, I mean, we're used to this with Syncopation, I guess.
I suppose. Though, with Syncopation, we didn't get teased with having it for 3 months, only to have it ripped and replaced.
Yeah. The other thing I can't not mention is that, so particularly because they released the English version with basically the video of them performing it in Nagoya, it becomes really clear, so we know that Mikiko does a lot of choreography, really trying to get a sense of like what's going on in the lyrics, so that even if you don't understand what's happening, in terms of like what the words say, you really can kind of get a sense of what's, there's some of it's communicated through the choreography. And if you change the words, but not the choreography, they just don't match anymore. So it's really weird, like all this stuff that really just seems like it pertains to, like being trapped in an elevator and elevator doors closing and, hell and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just has, like what they're singing has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Maybe they'll re-choreograph it or have new choreography, because I'm sure we're getting the English version on the U.S. tour, so we'll know here in about a month, right, what's going on. Maybe there's slightly different choreography they've worked on for it. Who knows? Yeah.
If I were Mikiko, I would be pretty unhappy with that,
I don't know. I mean, she probably got paid again to redo it.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm sorry. If I were her, I would be unhappy of them, like, using her old choreography with the new words,
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
But
I don't understand why it needed to be a video if you're going to use two clearly different things. Yeah. I have no way of knowing, but I got to think that even if you have no idea, have never heard the song before, or even have just stumbled onto this band and that's the first thing you consume, that you can see that something is off.
Even when I heard it on the satellite radio with my former bandmates when I went to the show last night, they heard it in the car with me, and they said, this is baby metal, right? And they said it sounded weird. Like, they didn't really like it.
Interesting.
I had to level with them and
say,
for
new friends.
Yeah, I told them, like, trust me, the Japanese version is much better.
Yeah, well, I guess it'll be interesting to see what people's reaction to it are in the tour, because that's when we get more genuine reactions from people who don't kind of live inside the bubble of fandom that we do. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see on Twitter and other ways what people think, maybe particularly of that song or just the show in general, because I can guarantee I don't think there's any reasonable doubt that they're going to play the English version on tour. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those reactions differ from those of us that have been around for a little while and may not be happy with the changes.
And I would like to believe that the English speaking world would have been fine with the original one. There's so much English in it anyway. You can sing along.
Mm-hmm. Well, my first thought is one of the most popular songs ever in the last 10 years was that Psy song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
And it's, there's like 4 English words in it. It's almost all Korean. So, clearly there's a market for non-English speaking music in English speaking parts of the world. So that's, again, another reason I don't fully understand the decision to do that.
Oh, well. I mean, I am coming to, not entirely dislike the English version. It's just that I'm going to keep listening to the Japanese one also, and I know that I'm going to like that one better, I think, forever.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at.
So I guess that we've gotten to the end of all the sort of big news that didn't have to do with spoilers. But we do have this information about the upcoming album that we gained through these 30-second previews. And so we are going to package together that spoilery stuff into a special episode that is next. So don't listen to that one if you don't want to hear anything about the advanced knowledge that we have about these tracks. And that's it for this episode. You can join us on the Baby Metal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here almost immediately, unless you want to skip the spoilers. And after that, in about 2 weeks. And no, actually, maybe even in about a week. This is a very disorganized outro, but we hope you'll join us anyway. So until then, see you